This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 897 for the week of Monday, December 15th, 2025. It's SGS week, so my name is Steven.
And my name is Greg.
And Simba as well. Simba is not, my cat Simba is not in the room right now, but he is somewhere out there. He's enjoying the sun. Look, it's December. It's cold out. He's gotta enjoy the sunlight. But yes, it is the SGS week. This is our special off-week podcast. If you are a return listener, thanks for coming back around. If you are new to it, this is a special podcast we do on weeks when the manga is off. We model it after Oda's SBS segments, and this is where Greg, who's a columnist for VJump and OnePiece.com and series advisor for Netflix's One Piece series, and me, Steven, translator for One Piece manga in Shonen Jump and Manga Plus, break down the latest events and share our expertise. So,
Steven's expertise.
That's that patented Greg humility that we all know and love. But what's up with you, Greg? How have you been? It's been a little while. I had to look back and I was like, has it really been since September that
wow,
that we recorded? Yeah.
That is quite a gap. I think there were a couple things going on, especially one of them is I've been like in a cycle of pain and suffering since September.
Oh, no.
It's I don't know if I talked about it last time, but I injured myself doing something. I'm not sure what. I probably it might have been the exercise where I grab 7-kilogram weights and jump and hit the ground and do like they're called jumping squats. It might have been that, holding both of them in both hands and swing my arms back and forth. But I hurt something in my left shoulder inner muscle.
Ooh.
And it was really weird. It's just like I couldn't tell where it was coming from, and like I just do these like random. I just be like walking, and suddenly it just be like out of nowhere. And it got so bad that I had to take some time off of work.
Wow.
But that was very painful, not a lot of fun. But it put me out of commission for a little bit, and then the weather started to cool down, so people started getting sick. And I work at a number of elementary schools for my daily job, so that's super fun and healthy because certainly they learned so much from Corona that everybody stopped. The children all stopped like touching each other and getting really close and refusing to wash their hands with warm water and soap. But no, elementary schools are basically a petri dish in Japan, and
yes, yeah.
I've just been one kind of sickness after another. In between, after finally getting back into weightlifting and everything, getting into an argument with my dear wife, and then angrily changing the tires on the car, and in doing so, lifting up one of our minivan's tires in each hand, holding them both hands, and walking about 30 meters with them to the car. Re-injured the same injured spot in my shoulder, so I had to start over from zero again. And then it's actually better than this. I'm excising a lot, but like, and then I think it was Monday I was supposed to go back to training, and then on Monday morning I woke up and I slept wrong on my right shoulder, so both my left shoulder and right shoulder were out of commission, so I had to take off another couple days to get that back. But yesterday I got back into it and was able to do some very, very simple stretches. But that's been basically the cycle since September, if you're wondering what I've been up to.
Stop and start.
Yeah. How about you? What have you been experiencing in the joys of 40-hood?
My health has been okay. I don't have any too bad stories to share on that regard. Although, you know, a lot of it is like I just haven't had time to exercise. That's why I was telling Greg before we started that like once I turn in the thing that I'm working on right now, I'm gonna have like several weeks of no imminent deadlines, and so I'm like, what? There's free time now? Like, what does that mean? So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, part of that is that I haven't really, I've had minimal chances to stay fit and do all that stuff. But since this is the story time, I can share one for our lovely Simba, the third member of the crew here. The other night, so Simba, it would take too long to explain all of the issues that this cat has. That I just sort of internalized, because it's like, oh well, this is just part of the daily routine. But one of the things is, in order to make sure that like we sort of minimize the chances of him waking us up, and I'm the light sleeper of the two, so like if Simba is whining at our bedroom door in the middle of the night, I'm the one who's going to wake up. And so we've learned over the years to always like we'll feed him part of his supper, and then we give him the rest of the supper right before bed, so that he gets full, he's sleepy. That usually works to keep him, asleep through the night, so we can wake up at a normal time. And so, the usual routine is, part of for winding down for the night, is you give him his supper. Maybe he needs to go to the bathroom, and then he gets in his bed, and then we're all good. So I give him his supper. This was a few nights ago. I give him his supper, and he. I don't think he went to the bathroom, but I went I went and cleaned out his litter box, to make sure that it was all fresh and good. And he gobbles down his supper. He loves this supper stuff. He doesn't like all of his food, but like this is the stuff that he's obsessed with. And he got the zoomies. Like he went ballistic after eating his food. And okay, that's pets. Sometimes they just do that. But he has a cat tree on one side of our living room that's near the back door, the back sliding door. And he doesn't usually climb, like every now and then he'll climb up on it. But the most common, way for him to interact with this thing is in this situation where he has the zoomies, and he just kind of like, all right, I'm just going to go climb up this thing. So he climbs up to the top of this cat tower, and I'm still, I can hear him running around, and I'm still in the bathroom working on his litter box. And I just hear these sounds out there, and I was like, what the hell is going on? And I go out, and I find out that like in his excitement and over the top agitation, he climbed up to the top of the cat tower, and then leaned over, and like at the bottom we have right now, in December, we have our little plastic tree that we use for Christmas, on a little end table that we just kind of put over there in the corner. And he has leaned over, and from a height of about 4 feet above that, thrown up, just projectile vomited onto the little end table where the tree is of the food he just ate. And I could not believe it. And he's looking at me like what just happened? And I'm like, I don't know. You tell me, dude. Like what did you do? And somehow he missed almost all of the tree. I think he got the little decorative, the thing that goes around the base of the tree. So we had to throw that out. And fortunately, we didn't have any like presents under there yet, because we haven't like wrapped up all the stuff we're going to take to family members. So it was kind of a minimum of trouble for how spectacular an event it was, but it was pretty amazing. Like the amount of unforced error that went into that, of like, this didn't need to happen. Like there was no reason that he needed to vomit up his dinner, but he did so in the most spectacular manner possible. So that was pretty fun. That's a good story.
Mama, what has Santa left us under the tree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Somehow he did get to bed after, like he did sleep it off, but yeah, he did, as I recall, I think he did get up an hour or two early to be like, hey, I'm hungry now. I was like, yeah, I wonder why. So yeah, that was
Oh man,
fun.
cats in the middle of the night,
Hmm.
particularly males, in the past have just driven me nuts.
Yeah.
Um, we've had female cats, and like in the middle of the night, like the worst they've ever done is like
Hmm.
come over to you and knead your chest because they want you to be comfortable, and then
Yeah.
like sleep on you, and like that's the extent
Hmm.
of it. And I was like, that's pretty cute. But male cats, we had I lived with this host family for half a year over here in Japan when I was a
Hmm.
college student, and they had a very large house. They were quite well to do, and it was an old style house, so it has um, like a kind of walking veranda, if you can describe it like that, that
Mm.
goes around the perimeter of the house. And
Yeah.
usually,
What the Engawa is what they call it, right?
wow,
Like
that is
along the
awesome
backyard.
that you know that.
Yes.
And it usually, like as you said, the perimeter of the house goes around to the back. It usually has some gardens, maybe to the driveway, whatever it is nowadays. But anyway, that has an outer side and then the inner side. And the outer, it's supposed to be all open in the summertime to keep things cool, and then they close it up in the winter to keep things. And I'm using air quotes now, but warm. But
Hmm.
it's just paper. It's like paper and glass walls, so they
Yeah.
do nothing. Anyway, so in that hallway, usually in the night, I lived on the right on the inside of that hallway. That's where my room was, and it had
Hmm.
these paper doors, the Fusuma,
Hmm.
and you've seen them before. All listeners of the latticed paper covered doors in
Right.
Japanese homes. And the male cat of the house would walk back and forth up and down that Engawa during the night. And when I arrived at the house, I was just like, man, this place looks pretty old. Like I don't know what's going on here because all the paper in the
Hmm.
bottom of the lattice was all punched out. And
Yeah.
I walked into the room and I was like, oh wait a minute, no, this isn't old. It's not decrepit. I was like, it's beautiful. It's a very nice room. It's a nice tatami room. And I was like, but why are all the the, the lattices punched out? In the night,
Hmm.
the male cat would pow through the latticing, walk into the room, and then continue to stare at me and meow as if I was going to do a fucking thing for this cat. Like I don't I was never told to feed it. I didn't have to do anything about it. Like
Yeah.
uh it just would like stare in there and fucking exorcist me in the middle of the night, like just like stare
Wow.
at me and do shit. Well, I don't know if that's Exorcist, whatever that movie was. Um, not Poltergeist. What was the one with the like
Mm.
found footage and the sleeping?
Oh, uh,
It
oh
was
God.
popular for like a
Yeah,
minute
I know what you're
in the
talking about. I know
aughts.
everybody is yelling at us right now.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Good. So, um, it was like that. So I was like, f this. I was like, this is really not fun. Like it scared the hell out of me too. Um, so the top of the Fusuma was a little bit unique. It was a glass or a plastic. It was a plastic like sheet. So half the bottom half was the latticing, and the top half was a like a plastic sheet. So what I did was I didn't even ask permission for this, but I took it out because they usually just pull them up and then pull them out from the bottom to get them out easily. I flipped it upside down so that the large plastic or glass not plastic sheeting was below, and the
Hmm.
latticing was up on top and was pretty high up. So I I used that for the door and figured myself pretty clever and went to bed. And that evening, I'm I'm oblivious to the world. I'm sound asleep, but I am woken
Hmm.
by pow, and the cat threw its entire body into the plastic sheeting.
Yes. Yes.
And I just hear silence for a couple seconds as I wake out of my slumber. And then a few seconds later, I hear slow walking away, and I go, "Aha, gotcha! All right."
Yeah.
So that was one. But then a couple nights later, I thought that this was over, but um, again, out of my slumber, I'm awoken by and I'm going, I wake up and immediately I'm kind of used to it now, and I know what the origin of this cacophony is.
Mm-hmm.
Cacophony. There
Cacophony. Yeah.
Emphasis on the wrong syllable. But I can't figure out for the life of me what or how is going on or how it's making the song, because I'm like, no, I can't possibly be doing that because I already fixed all this. And now this was a rather portly cat, and I turn on the light and I see the cat has managed to jump up and try to get through the holes that were in the top of the Fusuma, but couldn't quite get its body through the entire thing. So it was stuck halfway through the fucking latticing, kicking the bottom of the door with its feet and not being able to do anything with its front paws stuck in. And I just, fucking adult male cats are just the worst after that. And I just kind of gave up and I left the door open in the middle of the night after that. So
yeah,
the cat won.
Yeah. We, Sinbad's not been allowed in the bedroom for a while due to a couple different things, but like, for the first year or so he was here, he did, he was allowed to kind of come back and forth at night, but one of the reasons that he's no longer allowed to do that was because he would do the like running around laps in the middle of the night, but also like he liked that there was a window next to our bed along my side of it, so like if he jumped on the side table, where my alarm clock is and all that stuff, like he could see out the window or get to the window, and so he would just get a running start. Like he would just run across the apartment and down the hallway into our bedroom, and like at a full run, jump up on the bed on me, over me to get to the thing. So, it was like you'd just be sleeping and then you'd get like the sack tap, like you just kick me in the nuts, jumping off of me or in the stomach to get to where he wanted to go. So yeah, for reasons like that, yeah, we eventually kicked him out of the bedroom for good.
Okay.
But I think we've shared enough silly stories for now. We do have, well, believe it or not, folks, we are here to talk about some One Piece. And we'll,
what's a One Piece?
Stick around and you'll find out. We will be talking. I believe we'll probably cover the latest 3 chapters. At least that's what I wrote down my summaries for. And we do have a bunch of Patreon questions from folks that have been accumulating. So we'll have plenty to talk about in just a moment. But before that, a quick Patreon plug here. If you subscribe at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast, you can get some extra bonus goodies. And one of those things, of course, has been our sticker club that Steve has been doing, where it's, I believe it is the $12 a month tier, something like that. There's a monthly sticker that will go out. You will get to vote between 2 options every month for which sticker you want it to be, and it'll be between 2 of our amazing pieces of art, our thumbnails for the episodes that Steve does specifically. But all that money goes to not only supporting the hosting the podcast and making sure that the website stays up, but also allows us to compensate our many professional artists and our amazing artists, both professional and not, who have contributed over the years. And so that's it's a great way to show your support. So please do check that out. Aside from that, I think it's not really news yet, I guess, but this is episode 897. We have episode 900 of the One Piece podcast coming up soon. And there are some big plans in the works, some fun stuff that I'm sure Zach is very excited to announce to everybody, which will be, I'm sure we'll be divulging details soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But Without any further ado, I think let's go ahead and talk about some manga.
Manga.
This is the manga recap for chapters 11, 66, 67, and 68, our three most recent chapters. Obviously, it's been there are several more that were between our last SGS recording and this one, but we only have let's say 3 hours today and not 5 or 6 to go through all of that. So we got to cut it off somewhere. But we will start here with 1166. What was the chapter? Oh, yes. New story or new stories. And here is our little recap. Rox's curse is undone thanks to the blows from Roger and Garp, which is just long enough for him to be killed by Garling. Roger's crew discovers baby Shanks inside the chest, and various figures react to the aftermath of this event, such as Garp, Sengoku, Dragon, and Loki. But Harold takes the news hardest of all and breaks off his horns in a show of atonement. So we're kind of getting the very tail end of the God Valley material here.
Flashback in the flashback.
Yeah.
In a long, long story. I'm not crazy about the style. I mean, every once in a while it's okay, but I don't like how Oda keeps trending towards doing the Straw Hats looking like they came out of a Dobitz no Mori kind of thing. Like everybody's size feels a little bit. Oh yeah, so I said that in Japanese, didn't I?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody's size looks just like a little bit off. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but like, it's particularly this Zoro. Like they just seem like their proportions are slightly weird.
Yeah, they're definitely a little more a little trending toward chibi sized.
I don't know. I miss the old lanky days, but that's me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking about Garling here, who seems to land the killing blow on Zebek.
Mm-hmm.
If he did indeed, you never know.
Right.
It's One Piece.
You never know.
And I recently had to write. I didn't have to. I chose to write. No. Actually, this I did. I had to write an article on Garling, and I was doing a lot of thinking about that dude recently, and I thought, you know what? Since Garp and Roger were involved in this whole thing, and since they were there for that, I mean, not physically at that location at the time, but since Garling is the one who would be responsible for killing somebody who is a rival / friend / rival, it really put a nice bow on everything if Garp is the one to take down Garling. The Battle of the Gars.
Mm-hmm.
Who is more Gar?
Yeah.
I think that will probably be what we'll see. And Garp is even, I think he's got like 10 years on Garling. Not quite, but somewhere around there. He's got.
You mean older than Garling?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it'd be a pretty cool matchup. Seeing the fight of the GGs. It is the GG. Holy
the
shit!
GGs. Yeah.
It's GG and GG, and they're Garp. Oh my god, he's got it. Okay, that's it. He's definitely doing that then.
Nice.
G and G. And then when he finishes, he can just say GG. No, good game. No, okay.
I'm writing it down. We gotta save this golden title material here.
I mean, we're not even in it, but I'm sorry. That's the episode title for me, regardless of what we end up with. GG. But no, I think that would be. I don't know. You have any thoughts on that?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's a good. It's a good. It's a good way to have Garp do something heroic. Like there's a tension, and I don't. I try not to like let the I guess the sort of the community opinions, kind of set my expectations too much. But people, there were definitely a lot of people that were very hard on Garp through this, just because it's like, oh, you did all of this, you saw all of this stuff, this horrible stuff that was going on here, and then you chose to stay in the in the organization that is kind of if not directly responsible, they're sort of running security for the the celestial dragons in this very sick scheme. And so people were very critical of Garp's motivations and how, like, what are his true ideals here. And I think that would be a great way for him to do something that is meaningful and is good for the world, because obviously if you couldn't tell by now, Garling is being built up to be quite a villainous figure here. And so that's a way for Garp to do something that isn't necessarily tearing down the Marines, because I don't that's clearly not what Garp's mission is, but tearing down like the guys who are kind of manipulating and twisting the Marines, most noble goals into their own selfish, reasons. I think Garling being a figurehead of that would be a great, way to kind of to sum that up and to give Garp something really important and cool to do. So I am all for it. I like that idea.
I had no idea that criticism exists and
Mm-hmm.
exists, and I cannot agree with that on any level.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people are viewing this from not a comic book view, but gyakuni, a very realistic view, and seeing the kind of man that Garp really is, because this is 100% what Oda is going for. But Garp, compared to Dragon or even Luffy, now you could make a couple different arguments for Luffy because of who he is and what he's able to accomplish. He's able to accomplish more, and he will accomplish more. But Garp is, this is another thing I don't like to keep saying this, but I just wrote an article about Garp, and this is one that I did show straight. It's up on the One Piece homepage. And I go through the individual points comparing Luffy to Garp, and it comes down to basically the same character, which might surprise a lot of people, but it's one choice that Garp made in life, and that was
Mm-hmm.
to protect.
Mm-hmm.
Luffy chose to follow his dream. Luffy chose fun with people,
Mm-hmm.
freedom, right? The freedom to enjoy with other people.
Mm-hmm.
While he's doing that, he will protect them. Garp chose Maine to protect. And it's almost not quite. It's not quite, but it's almost paladin level of I will protect at whatever cost.
Mm-hmm.
And he is not in the Marines. This much should be obvious to anybody, but he's not in the Marines to forward anything or any ideal that they have under the world government. He is there solely to protect the people that he is working with, that he has worked with, and the people that will continue to come into the system regardless of what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He basically his I guess they would say like his tamago in Japanese, his egg that he is raising is Aokiji.
Mm-hmm.
Aokiji can I say it like Zach? Aokiji is
Sure.
no, sorry Zach. Kuzan is basically what he's there for. to create the next generation that will be able to collectively undo whatever knots the world had itself tied into before. And he chose that the best way for him to do that at that point in his life was from the inside. He's not being covert or anything like that. It's he is simply trying to raise people to think for themselves, and he has succeeded in that with Kuzan. Oh wait, what is Kuzan doing right now? You'll find out what Kuzan stands for. You'll see all of that. That'll be fine. But if anything, he is taking the Japanese samurai level of, I work for a corrupt master, but I will do anything in my power to make sure that other people do not need to be corrupted as I have been. And I am not suicidal, so I will not off myself, because that's one option that you could take, but as a samurai. But he says, no, I'm going to make sure that other people make it through. And I think that's highly honorable. Now, an old poster from Arlong Park who I keep in touch with, Liberty, mentioned to me, what about what Fujitora did? Like, isn't that more honorable? And it's I guess he's talking about some of the events that occurred at Marijoa. And what did he do? I think he protected people that were revolting, or he did something of that nature. And I was like, no, that's the same thing. That dude never tried to he's trying to force a change now, and Fujitora has been vocal about that. He can, because he has that position, but I think Garp didn't want to bring enough attention to himself, whereas Fujitora will always be in the spotlight because of that position. And we don't know his history with Sakazuki yet, so I mean, he could be there for a whole list of complicated reasons. And he talks to Sakazuki like nobody should talk to Sakazuki. Those two, whatever those two have, it goes back. So the fact that he's doing what he's doing is not necessarily just because he's a great, good, honorable person, but because he knows Sakazuki I mean, whatever it is, they know each other very well, and they have some deep connection. So he is, by nature, he can be that bold. Plus, I think he also reads the room, and he knows that the winds of change are coming. So I think that the two of them are doing what they can in their own respective ways. So that criticism of Garp really doesn't land with me. I do not get. I understand that people hold it, but I cannot agree with it.
I mean, it is a very memey kind of opinion that people hold, which means that I think a lot of them are kind of jokey in nature. But obviously, there's people who will take that seriously, and I do think it is unfair to Garp as a character, because if your criticism comes down to like, well, he didn't single-handedly overturn the structure of the Navy and fix all the problems that they had, given what we know about, like, the pressures that are put on the Navy and the limitations that they deal with and stuff. It's like, well, I mean, it's just not fair. Like, he's just a one guy. He can't do everything. He's not omnipotent, and you wouldn't have a story if he was able to solve all those problems. It's much more interesting to kind of to see him as a three-dimensional character who is working with what he can do, and living within those boundaries, and seeing where he takes it from here. But
I think that really was the chapter for me, because everything else kind of played out as it needed to.
Yeah.
The only question that was in my mind at this point was whether Harold was really into it, like really had his heart set on being in the world government, because he had these genuine, I don't want to say delusions of grandeur, but like kind of rose-colored glasses of what the future could be, for his people, without knowing exactly about what the world government was all about, and without knowing about him.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the big question in my mind at this point. Still, was does he or is he going to does he want this position to betray them, basically, to get in, get trusted? It's a long game, and then in the end try to fight back. Like, what led to that night in the castle of him being killed? Was it found out that he wanted to double cross the world government, or what?
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I was still puzzling over in this chapter.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely the, and I don't want to like lean too heavily on the sort of the dramatic irony of like, okay, well, we as readers know that the bad guys are the bad guys because it's very obvious. And so, of course we're meant to be sort of frustrated by his seeming naivete. And I don't know. I don't know that I have like a great answer for like if he kind of walked into this with open eyes, knowing what was possible, or if if in his mind he's just thinking, look, as long as we get our foot in the door and do this thing, like it's forward progress. And if someone else has to pick up the pieces after me, at least I've gotten us this far ahead, and maybe just not not really being fully aware of the potential for disaster that this sidling up to the powers that be would cause.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty clear that he's designed it as a tragic figure because he's it's kind of what has put Elbaf in this position.
As future us will find out, yes, that is the answer.
Yep. Okay, so 1167. We in this one, Harold does the bidding of the 5 elders and the Navy in order to win brownie points for Elbaf. He takes on the first level of the Covenant with Emu, taking his place alongside the Knights of God. Harold jokes about betrothal of Loki and Shirahoshi and advises Saul to build his school in Elbaf. Shanks returns to Mary Joa amid strange circumstances, just as Fisher Tiger escapes and frees the slaves. And as Ida grows sick, poisoned by jealous members of Estrid's village, Loki takes revenge and declares himself to be Ida's son. This is a very packed chapter. There's a lot that happened in this one.
This was a very nice chapter.
Yeah.
We finally got the full giant squad like rundown here. Who's the one that wears the mask? Do you remember? Is that Lacroix?
Which
there's one that,
when they're doing the the salutes.
Salute. Yeah.
I don't remember any of the, aside from John Giant, I don't remember any of the the Marine guys, because they're all data book.
I have not followed this very closely. And this might be in like Viver card stuff or whatever. I don't know. But like the dude with the spiky hair on the very, very left, that the first time we see his face? Like I haven't looked into this at all, but like he's the dude who always wears the mask and he looks super intimidating, right? And he's over here looking like Emmett Nervin from Freakazoid.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's got a big goofy smile on his face.
So that's what he looks like. Also, I think there's the one with the hair on the. Oh no, that ends up being a different one. But there was one giant in the Marine spread that Oda did for Zet that like I could never pin down, and I don't know. I guess maybe not in this one either, but big chapter for lore.
Oh yeah,
because and I don't know if you were privy to this or not, or you even knew that anything was going on, but there was a ton of stuff going on behind the scenes for this chapter with me and the production side, because you ever look at something and be like, well, I'm really glad the sky is blue. And somebody's like, what do you mean the sky is blue? And you're like, the sky, the thing that's over our head every day, that's blue. And they're like, no, it's green. And you're like, what are you talking about? That happened with this chapter. It was just like, I was just like, oh, wow. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, it was nice to see the Fisher Tiger thing, but like, it's a real shame that, that had to be pinned on Shanks because, first he lost the climb, that epic climb. And now he loses the fact that, he had to rely on Shanks for this. And people were just like, what do you mean he lost the epic climb? And I was like, the climb that, he was rumored to have and all the papers said and everything, but, it never happened. And people were like, what do you mean it never happened? And I was like, what do you mean it never happened? And so there was this just massive back and forth about like, but no, but this and this. It turns out that there was a major plot hole that was created with the Fishman Island backstory related to Fisher Tiger. And it comes down to an age of Boa Hancock that was presented when she was captured and when she was freed.
Uh-huh.
And that information comes out first in the series. Like
right.
in the chronological order of the series, that information came out first. And so that everything that followed it is based on that. And if you do the math for when Fisher Tiger shows up on Fishman Island and he's going, hey, Arlong, hey, Jimbei, that is given as 16 years ago. Because, and I don't know if this is Lost's fault or not, because the Fishman Island story, specifically his story, is told a little bit out of order, and there aren't always, unless there's a big jump, like of a year or more, there aren't necessarily Oda boxes that tell you precisely how much time has passed or when things occurred. It's not very clear when and there are, further muddying it, are flashbacks within flashbacks.
Yeah.
But because of everything that happened, people were under the impression that Fisher Tiger was captured as a slave, escaped, then went back and led a raid for an escape. And that is not the case. There never was the climb. It didn't happen because that was just the story. That was the fake news that the world government came up with and propagated, and worked in his favor because it rallied people to him, or at least, the fishermen. Because he was always captured and he was always enslaved.
Now is that, when you say that, that this was always the case, do you think, I mean, are you saying that was Oda's idea for it, or is that how we are supposed to interpret it to make all the facts line up?
That was Oda's idea for it, and that's how the facts line up, except for when he arrives on Fishman Island, it's given as 16 years ago. However, when he's showing up there and saying hi to Arlong and Jimbei, it's immediately following the events of this chapter, which are given here as the events of this chapter,
15.
Which are given as 15 years ago. So it's that discrepancy with Boa's age that doesn't make it work. And it was I did confirm this. Now Oda can change this if he wants to. I think there's actually going to be some changes made to it. We have to see what decision is finally made, because they have a bunch of tough decisions in what to edit and how far to edit. Do they edit they have to edit past books anyway, but to what degree and what information? I actually went through the different iterations of, like, you can change. If you want to make the climb something that actually occurred, you need to make these changes. If you want to it as you intended it, you need to make these changes. And I confirmed it with the editor that, like, yes, that was the intention, was that all of that was actually fake and didn't happen. It was a story created around him, and there were not two captures of Fisher Tiger. And when he shows up on the island, on Fishman Island, that is immediately following these events, so it cannot be 16 years ago. Or it is, and Boa's age was wrong. I don't want to think about all of that again, and it's too annoying to listen to on the podcast, so I'm not going to go through all of it. But I did have diagrams and all sorts of crazy, red string boards and things going together and pointing to events. But it was a crazy week when that came out, because it was a constant back and forth with fans and
Mm.
with the production side.
Right.
But very interesting. I had no idea that people thought that was a thing that occurred. But yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's I mean, and when you look at the big picture, it's like the story of Fisher Tiger is obviously important, in the sense that anything is important, in the story, but it's also fairly secondary to, like, the plot, the main plot, the present day plot of of Fishman Island. Like, it's there to kind of help tell the story of Boa, and to set to set the stage for the current generation of people who are that their story is playing out in the present day. But it's also, it's not like it's the central thing that everything hangs upon. He's just kind of an interesting figure from the past. And so, like, having to do a bunch of really careful manipulation to make sure all the details line up perfectly is, hey, Oda's good at keeping track of this stuff, but, like, even he, I think, would probably tell you that, man, this is too complicated. Like, I wish I wish I had told it in a more simple and streamlined fashion, because I don't think that's necessarily, like, what he's really trying to get into. I don't think he wants to be tied down by, like, well, I wrote this number on this scene and then this number on this other scene. He may not even been thinking about this stuff, and then retroactively is like, oh, well, now I need to explain this. And I think that's kind of riding on your back foot. Like, you don't want to set your story up that way. I think it's better if he knows exactly what he wants to do, and just goes right into it. And so yeah, it's a bunch of complicated stuff that who knows if anyone even cares. I guess is my
people super care.
Yeah.
You would be
Well,
surprised.
Some people do.
because God, I was afraid to put it on Twitter even, because of the backlash. But, like, a lot of people thought that the climb actually occurred, and unfortunately, the onus lies with Oda on this, because he did draw the Fishman Island story being somewhat out of order and with flashbacks within flashbacks without specific times, but he drew just enough so you could extrapolate enough information to know who was where and when. And this led to also the Weaver cards being incorrect. The Weaver cards incorrectly list 2 occasions that Fisher Tiger gets caught on because of the whole Boa stuff. So it's quite unfortunate, but the responsibility lies with Oda on this one, because he drew it that way for dramatic reasons, because he wanted to hide the fact that Fisher Tiger was actually enslaved for the end of the flashback. So everything was presented a little bit ambiguously with that surprise in mind, which I respect. But if you want to do it, you really got to be on your game. And unfortunately, he messed up that time. So, I guess more back to the actual events of this chapter is, I'm not super crazy that Shanks was responsible for. I mean, we don't know how Fisher initially got free, right? Like, we don't know the story behind that.
He's already free. You can say Shanks definitely helped him.
Oh, big! It's
like,
the bookie, the storage facility is a big thing.
Yes, yeah, like, you wouldn't have been able to, like, set off all these explosions or whatever is happening, and certainly it would have been much harder, if not impossible, for him to free all these other folks. But I don't know how, it's debatable, the extent to which this made all that stuff happen. But yeah, for sure, he's drawing a very clear line here between Shanks and Tiger's exploits.
Yeah, I thought Oda was going to break the internet with this large Shamrock and Shanks Bishonen looking Rose of Versailles looking motherfuckers here. Yeah. Look at the 2 of these guys. They need their own Bishy spinoff, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Some stuff going on with Ida
Mm-hmm.
and Loki being Loki.
Yes.
Loki's gonna Loki. But yeah, that was the chapter for me. For me the chapter was about Fisher Tiger.
Yeah. 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 A very complex story there. Um, do you take any of these theories? I've seen some stuff where people were wondering if there's even another layer to, like, obviously with the way it's written, the most simple surface level is like, like if you put yourself in the barely paying attention category, it's like you look at this and you're like, what? Why is Shanks being so evil? Like, is he
Oh, for
secret?
fuck's sake.
Is he really a celestial dragon, like on the inside? And then of course, the very clear insinuation from the scene that you see prior to that, and obviously knowing who Shanks is as a character, you're like, oh, okay, so he's undercover, like he's
He's
you
doing
know
what
he
Harold should have done.
right, yeah, exactly, yes, he's playing along to hide his true nature and to get information in the process. But I saw some other people that were like speculating that, like, I don't know, that they were even doing more of like a sort of Prince and the Pauper thing, where it was like, well, Shanks and Shamrock are identical twins. So, like, is it possible that in this scene, Shanks is actually Shamrock and all this stuff? And which I think is maybe a little, it's putting a hat on a hat, as the saying goes, that it's a little too like looking for cleverness when it's not really required. I don't know if you had seen anything like that or
No, and I'm
thought of
glad I
that.
didn't, because
Okay.
I mean, to what extent? What point?
Right. Right. To what end? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I mean, yeah. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't seem like it would have a point. It seems like it's looking for something that doesn't need to be
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yes. So that will take us to the most recent chapter, 1168, The Snows of Elbaf. In this chapter, Harold is heartened by the progress Elbaf is making at home and abroad, but mourns the death of Ida. He is made a fully fledged Knight of God, the next highest step of the Covenant, but it comes at the cost of his freedom. Back in Elbaf, Emu demands that Harold create a giant army and controls his body. Loki and Jarl are summoned to the castle, but don't know why. Hmm.
So, um, a couple things about this chapter. We finally get confirmation of the
Mm-hmm.
mark, and the level of the mark, I guess, gives you different abilities, right?
Right, the powers. Yeah.
Power and uh, so far, I guess what you could describe as eternal life. Um,
Right.
yeah. Um, I guess that eternal life would extend over into how they can be sliced and diced and cut apart. We don't know
That
that
would
for
seem.
sure,
Yeah,
but
I was kind of assuming that as well,
yeah,
since we saw the elders kind of doing like weird shadow morphing stuff when they got cut up. So
yeah.
yeah.
Um, so this O with the cross through it, I
Mm-hmm.
believe I've talked about this before, but like turn it sideways and, well, 190 degrees, rotate it 90 degrees, and you've got a pirate cross. Now I know that has the horns up there,
That,
so
that's
it's meant to look like a, yeah.
45 degrees. If you
Thank
rotate it
you,
90 degrees, it would be the exact same symbol.
thank you very much,
Yeah.
thank you so much. The first thing I was going to fucking say was 180 degrees, and I was like, that's right off. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, 45 degrees, and you get a pirate cross. You get the Jolly Roger, which shows that, no matter who no matter who the Straw Hats are fighting, they're still fighting some form of pirate.
Mm.
Um, Also, it is Oda's O from his signatures, from his autographs.
Ooh.
It's an O with the X through it,
Mm-hmm.
which represents also the world. And the
Mm-hmm.
horns probably being, representing control over the world. So that's basically what this is. It's a symbol of the world under the control of Imu, and the horns probably being representing of the same being that we saw on Onigashima, whatever that skull belonged to, the abomination that I like to talk about so much. And that's probably what Imu wants to get back to. Whatever Imu is, it wants to get back to that body. Don't know if that was Imu's original body. I don't think it was, but whatever it is in now, possibly Lily's body, it wants to get back to that because that is either its true form or the form that it knows can take control.
That is the Greg's grand unified theory.
Yep. There's an interesting way of spelling Elbaf on the ship here.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So I've been in contact.
Do you have a
that.
story? Okay, all right. I was just about to say, were you going to tell this story?
Yeah. So I read that and I was like, I do not care if it is ELBAF or ELBAPH. I don't care. All I want is for the Japanese side to have some sort of form of consistency.
Consistency, yeah, that's the thing.
And getting Elbaf, I don't think I ever talked about this on the podcast. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but getting to the current official Japanese spelling, Japanese English spelling of Elbaf was quite a journey. And they finally decided on it, and it was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And they went ahead and they did it. And we saw it in that chapter from whatever it was that shows Warland for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's what they went with. That's it. And then they go ahead and do this one. And I emailed them about it first, or no, I texted them about it first, and they were like, okay. And then I was just like, that's a non-response. They don't know what I'm talking about. And I was like, I sent them a picture, and I was like, look, this here, sorry, to be unclear, but like, this was not what was agreed upon. And they were like, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Actually, I did know about that, but I still allowed the mistake to happen. We'll fix it in post, kind of a thing. Whether they do or not, who knows? But yeah, that was a thing that occurred.
Yeah, it's like all you can really say about it is, okay, well, there's certainly a long and storied past history of double spellings like this existing in One Piece. So it's not like this is necessarily any worse than usual, but this is also why, they over the years, the sort of the behind the scenes attempts to keep everything steady has only grown in that time to be like, okay, let's make sure everybody knows what these are supposed to be. And so that part is, I think, the most frustrating of it.
Yeah. This chapter gave us our answer for what, I mean, the arc has several themes going on. The kind of the modern arc is mixed blood, mixed heritage, and that's certainly going on.
With Gabon and
we've forgotten that because we've been away from it for so long. But the big question from the start, almost the very start of the arc, was which way does Elbaf go? In terms of, does it take the sword or does it burn the book? What does Elbaf do? And Ida gives us her answer right here. Ida is the Otis thesis for what he wants the theme to be. And it is complicated, and not everybody's going to like it. But it is what it is. And she says it's super funny. It's really, she says it quite sweetly here, and it's almost thrown away because it seems like she's even interrupted and appropriately so, cleverly so. Harold pretty much blows over precisely what she says here, but it's on page, I believe 5.
5, yeah.
And she's just like, God, I'm sorry. I got the Japanese here. I don't know what it says in English.
No, that's fine. Yeah, go right ahead.
She's just like, Ara, senshi no hokori wa watashi suki yo, kakkoi mono. Bunka wa taisetsu ni shinakucha, . So I'm not sure what you were able to.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the Japanese too. So this was like, I love the the warrior's pride. It's so cool, and you have to treasure your culture.
So,
And yeah.
and Harold's just like, "Ore to ira kekkon deki nakatta no do." He just completely blows past it, which is the point, which is why he ultimately chose poorly. Harold chose the book, and the book is not the answer, but it is not the answer. She's Ida's telling him that both are important.
Mm-hmm.
You must remember your culture. You must remember who you are, and you must protect that. But you must also add the new and continue to improve in different ways. She likes what
Mm-hmm.
he's doing for the world. She thinks that's a beautiful endeavor. But what he's done is dropped their heritage, and he's forgotten about
Right.
who they are. And they're losing who they are, and they will lose themselves if they lose that. Love it or leave it, she is saying you shouldn't. And she's not reprimanding him here, but I mean that's the thesis. That's what Oda's trying to say is you should not forget where you came from. What I'm trying to say is that Elbaf is Moana. Um, roll credits. Move on, find your new islands. Yes, but don't
Mm.
forget who you are and where you came from because that's what's brought you here, and you need to hold that. You need to hold that up. It's almost like a Tom thing. It's like whatever you were, whatever you produced, like own it, no matter what it was, own
Mm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's something that you made and you were a part of, and try to make tomorrow a better tomorrow. So the answer is not to be warlike, to not only be warlike, or to not just be bookish, and to walk the path of peace. It is to balance peace with strength. And I don't know. That's what I'm saying is that's what I was saying here. Agree,
Mm-hmm.
disagree. This is the chapter that basically gave us the answer. And for what I'm sure we'll see in the future is that Elbaf will take up arms to defend itself.
Mm-hmm.
But they will also become scholars of the world, I'm sure, giant scholars. So,
Yeah, I mean it's kind of ironic that, like Harold's goal here is to, to be welcomed within the was it the circle of the world? I think that's what that's the phrase that Oda likes to use. But uh in order to foster, understanding and trade and stuff like that. But like pretty much hit the entire time that we've seen him since he turned himself around with Ida's help as a younger man was like, yes, we go around to these other islands and we make friends with it. Like he was kind of doing that already, in a way. Like they were making really good inroads with their kind of neighbors on the sea. So from the reader's perspective, at least, it does kind of feel like, well, what more is you know taking this leap forward really going to get you, in terms of in terms of like what Elbaf can do as a country. So that part, I mean, maybe that's just an issue of perception, but it did seem a little ironic to me.
yeah. Oh, and before I forget it, one more thing from the previous chapter, just to pull in, is they mentioned briefly about like, oh, that giant thing that you saw, was that in the Florian Triangle? And they're like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. So that
Yeah.
the spoilers I saw got picked up, and they're like, oh, so it was a giant ship. That's what the Florian Triangle. No, 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 no. That was
No.
Oda pulled that out because he wants it in your brain. Because
Yeah.
I'm sure the coming months, perhaps year or so, he will touch on that. So he wants you to be thinking about that. That's why he brought it up.
Hmm.
But no, if you compare even Harold's ship there to the ship that he cut Cleves in half,
Hmm.
not even his ship is anywhere near the size of what was glimpsed in the Florian Triangle. The entirety
Yeah.
of Thriller
Sure.
Bark was tiny compared to that. So no,
Right. Right. Right.
not even close.
Speaking of things that we were so busy talking about Fisher Tiger, but stuff that Oda wants you to think about, even if he's not necessarily spelling it out directly, is we didn't talk about Harold talking with Neptune about Shirahoshi, did we?
Oh, yeah, that. Yeah, that
Greg's
was almost
over
an
it.
afterthought. Yeah. Well, okay. No, that was. It was just like, okay. Um, I'm. So what Steven's alluding to is the fact that Oda is alluding to
Mm-hmm.
that Shaggy is indeed
Yes, the Mosa Mosa.
Shirahoshi.
Yeah.
And if they aren't at this point, like, okay, all right,
That
Oda,
yeah, that he if
tell me
he's
your
not
story.
right, if he's not setting it up, then he's doing a red herring to try to make us, get sidetracked on that. Because there's very little reason why he would not other reason why he would have included this little scene.
Yeah. I'm
So
I'm still waiting on Streusel. That's my big one. Streusel and pudding. Those are my
okay.
two big ones. If we
All
get
right.
that, I'll go fucking nuts because I called the shit
Mhm.
out of that years ago. This was. Do you remember who it was? Because I was on a Kobe wagon when we first
Mm.
discussed it, and then I think somebody brought it up in the comments. Did they not?
Sure.
Or
Yeah, we
in
had
the questions?
I think it was SNP. Zach was looking it up when we covered this chapter because I was I was explaining, I was going through the etymology of all that stuff,
Okay.
and yeah, it was one of our listeners.
Yeah. As soon as they mentioned that, I just started going through. Well, what if? What if? What if? What if? What if? And everything just
Hmm.
kept checking out. So yeah, good call there.
Yep. All right. Yeah, and now it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you had any thoughts about this because this is because of the timing of when we record. I won't see the next chapter for a couple days probably still, so I have no advanced knowledge at this point. But I wasn't actually sure at the end of this chapter whether or not, I mean, he does say let's get the story, on the very last page of 1168. He does say, let's return to the story, which would suggest that we're jumping back to the present day over whatever happened in the throne room. Maybe he's saving that, but
Absolutely. No, he must because what's his name? We need the dramatic
Mhm.
moment where the sword and the stone is where the
where
Excalibur
they pull
is pulled.
they pull it from Jarl's head,
Yep.
and then he remembers. Wow, that's
Yep.
good. Okay, all right, I'm sold.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just because this is one of those things where I think like a little Japanese lesson, I guess. But at the very end of this little speech that Oda leaves us on, he ends with the last thing is Meikun Hararuto ga inochi o tosu no da ga, which is the great and wise King Harold would lose his life, but
I was going,
comma
and
but
yet, yeah,
dot dot dot, and that's the sort of thing like that sentence construction of putting ga. So ga in this sense is like but, that you put at the end of a sentence or in between two sentences to to be the whatever you call it, the contrary particle there. However, in Japanese, like you can use that not to, in a way that's like it's just sort of softening the end of your sentence. Like it's something that doesn't really have a direct English, corresponding version. But you'll often see instances, or like when people talk, when people are talking politely to each other, and like you're saying like, oh, I've got this thing for you, and then they'll end it with ga, which is kind of suggesting like, oh, like here I got this thing, like do you want to see it or not or something,
I
it's
got
kind
this
of
thing
like
for you, but it sucks.
yeah, it's not
Basically,
yeah, it's not
yes,
really like, yeah, it's kind of a not humility, but it's a softening agent in the text that kind of like it's a way to trail off the sentence, to suggest that yeah, there's probably some more here, but I'm not going to say it, or it's kind of left to your imagination. And it you could say, I could have ended the sentence with but there, it doesn't really work quite the same way in English, and I think it might confuse people a little bit. So I just thought I would throw that out there as like an interesting way that Oda ended the thing, which is, I guess it's probably just to kind of tell you like, what could this mean? Like what could we see in the future? But he doesn't often, I think, end the chapters like that. So it was an interesting choice.
The only other thing I can think of that's even close is the Hikigane one. But I mean, even that's not exactly 1-to-1 comparison, but like that
which
one was weird. Was it the Hikigane? It was, I think,
the trigger.
これは将来大きな出来事の引き金になった or something like that. When Blackbeard and Ace had their fight.
Oh, yeah.
That was another one where it was like, wait, what does he mean? I remember the online discussion back then.
Yeah.
And it wasn't exactly this. It didn't like end with Ga, but it was a similar one where it just like ended like, wait, what do you mean? For what? Yeah, but anyway. Oh, Japanese.
Yeah.
The only thing where you can give someone a gift of food and say, you're probably going to hate this because it'll taste like shit. But
yes. Or when you give someone a present and you say literally, this is a boring thing, but
yes.
Here.
Yes.
Anyways, like I said, we do have quite a few questions to go over.
Okay.
And I think we should get to some SGS.
Let's move it along and get to the SGS minus S because Simba's not in the room.
Yeah. And we're back here with the SGS section. This is where we will take your comments, questions, and theories and see if we have anything to add to them. I think normally we'll take some Discord questions from our Patreon subscribers, as well as on the social media channels, but we've got enough on the Discord that I think I'm just going to stick to that for this time. And if you are curious, or if you would like to get your theories in here, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you can get access on the One Piece Podcast Discord server to the Patreon section, and there is an SGS channel in there where you can put your questions, and I will go through them. In this case, I will include, since we book. I'm looking at it right now. The bookmark for next time that I put in was on September 19th. So some of these questions might be a little out of date. They might have been answered by the series itself. We'll have to see when we go through them. But I'll include that for context. And our first one, this was from September 24th. So this is quite a while ago. And this one comes from, and my name is Alex. This comes from our very own dude exclamation, who says, "Hey there, fellas and Simba. Everything happening in Elbaf, including the lengthy flashback, has made me forget all about this ominous quote from Louis Arnault." And I will read it here because he included the picture very early on in Elbaf. You may remember this. Oda gave us a little blurb from the explorer Louis Arnault, obviously known for writing Bragman. And I translated it as, "Adventurers, do not regret your lost time here." And then there's the word of warning, "Do not overstay your welcome," on Elbaf. So Alex says, "Is Elbaf some sort of island where time passing is also giant, similar to going to outer space and returning only to discover much more time has passed? This, coupled with Shaggy having to leave so abruptly and a full-scale war seemingly happening at Mary Joa, makes me think that by the time the Straw Hats leave the island, the world will already be forever changed. A time skip for everyone but our heroes, if you will. It'd be a way to fast-track the endgame of the series. Would Oda make this type of move?" And he also adds, "Also regarding the latest SGS, if Harold is alive, him showing up to save everyone in the nick of time would be pretty unexpected and would also give Loki some real emotional catharsis. Well, the very last text started to break this to you, Alex, but the very last piece of text in the most recent chapter is the most beloved king in Elbaf's history, King Harold, died. So I don't think we can count on Harold coming back, but we do have this interesting theory that he has about time passing. Do you have any thoughts on this, Greg?
Okay. I would say that even though this is One Piece, there is a strong likelihood that Harold is dead.
Yes.
You know, same for Zebek as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can never be sure. But the story seems to be written as if they are, and there doesn't seem to be any winking at the camera that we should think otherwise.
Right.
Similar to Pedro, who I will still count as alive because it just kind of makes sense. Or not Pedro. Yes, Pedro as well. But also what's his name? Peckham's. Pedro and Peckham's, the two Pes.
Beckham's. Yeah.
Pepe. I believe they're still hunky dory. But as for Harold being alive, I don't know that it would. See, we can't get too greedy because we had Saul being alive for Robin, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thing about that is Robin literally had nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has somebody that's connected to. I mean, even fucking Brooke now has multiple people who they're connected to.
Yeah, that's true.
From their older life. But Robin had nobody. So if we grant him Harold back, let's say, oh, things didn't quite occur as we know, or Loki managed to save him, right? Like we don't know about it, but he managed to save him or some part of him or something like that. I don't think it would have the same emotional impact, nor would it be necessary for the character to have a link to the past. Nice. Link to the past. But yeah, so that's that. And I don't think it was meant to be dissected that carefully, but like really looking at it, I always try to think like, well, if this is impossible, how could Oda do it? But it always comes down to what end. And I don't think that would be quote unquote interesting in his mind.
Yeah.
But it is curious. The the time, let's do the time thing. I don't think merely because then shouldn't Gavin be like 100 million years old? And
yeah.
Or Gyakuni, shouldn't he be like super young?
He should be younger, yeah.
Younger or something? Yeah. This time passed slow. What else?
I think that you could argue that it's more of an issue of perception, because if you're a human on this island, then it's huge, so like any time you spend crossing it or whatever is taking way longer than it would on a normal sized island. And if you're living among the giants, then like again, similar to Gabon, what is it? He's getting older. They stay the same age because they age so much slower. So it might just be kind of a way to underline that aspect of the way that everything is, works on a different time scale here, but maybe not literally in terms of, time passage.
I do wonder if there's a sickness or something. Did this ever resolve? I haven't read anything, but did we ever learn why those dudes are wearing gas masks early on, like the followers of Loki?
I'm not recalling these dudes.
Remember they showed up? They were like the humans who like sort of like are Loki's fanboys. They're like his, I don't know, his stand-in. They're going to come in the story when we least expect it to accomplish some sort of goal. But they're the humans who live down in the what is it, the dark realm or the death realm. And they all had like,
oh, that's right. They did have. They were like almost like servants. Yeah, that's weird. I honestly
they're like the
barely
Frankie
remember
family.
them.
They're there to do something when
yeah.
Oda needs them to.
Oh, sure.
But I think they all had gas masks. Is that part of it? Is there like a Daft Green? here, or like can you quote unquote catch giantism by being here?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
an odd one.
But no, it's a good point. It is a decent point to bring up because I think Oda wants you to have forgotten that about,
yes, for sure.
by this point. Yeah, so
For
very
sure.
astute, Alex. Thank you. Also,
Yeah.
Alex. I don't want to talk too much about Alex's private life, but his youngling had a super cute Halloween costume. I don't know if he shared that story yet, but he was super adorbs.
Yes, we've seen some great pictures from Mr. Alex. Okay. Next, this is shooting forward to November 3rd. We have a couple questions here. This must have been, one of the other breaks where everyone was hoping to get their SGS in. Well, here we are now. And we have this question from Zach S. I'm not sure if this is tongue in cheek or not. Okay, I'll just read this verbatim. Why does everyone call manga artists and authors sensei? Sensei means teacher, right? They aren't teaching Joe American podcaster / YouTuber anything. It seems like needless ass kissing. Well, I'm not sure how serious to take this or not. But if you want, we can give a little Japanese lesson. Is for why. So there's a lot of different people that get called sensei in Japanese, not just teachers. That's and it does not explicitly mean teacher, right? It means like someone who was born before, yeah. And it, not necessarily literally. It's not like you would call everybody who was born before you that, but it is it conveys a sense of expertise and like kind of professionalism. So, for example, what is it? Is it lawyers are called sensei too? I think.
I hadn't considered that. I was thinking doctors, but like
doctors, doctors. Yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking of. And I don't know. Sometimes
also
it's
scholars. Not necessarily a teacher, but a scholar is. Writers certainly are. Authors.
Yes, and sometimes like you'll see scenes in a show or a movie or a manga or something where it's just kind of like some old like some retired like politician or some guy who's just hanging out in his kimono, and he's old and important, and they're calling him sensei, but then it turns out like he's not a teacher. He's not, it turns out he's some old politician or something like that. So it can come in a variety of ways. But it just so happens that, being a writer or an artist, someone telling a story in this sense, they do fall under that umbrella. So that's why we call them sensei.
Now, does the question mean in English or in Japanese? Like, why do English?
I honestly don't know. I just figured let's give them a little explanation, a little primer.
I have a strong opinion on that. If it's an English speaker calling them sensei repeatedly and not tongue in cheek, it's probably a misunderstanding of either a misunderstanding, and it in some cases could be ass kissing, but I've seen mostly it's misunderstanding. Like, and the worst I've seen is like people who constantly call him for the live action stuff, call him Sensei Oda, which is just like, Japan culture 101. Didn't even read the intro.
Yeah, I think most of the time that in an English context that I would use it would be like, particularly if you're talking in English with like other Japanese people, or something where it's like, okay, they would understand, they would refer to him this way in Japanese, in the same context, then I'll use sensei. Like when we would talk with Sasaki-san, from Shueisha, when we would have him on, you refer to him as sensei just because it's, again, it's polite. It may be ass kissing, but like that's how it works in Japanese. That's what the politeness levels are for. It's for ass kissing. So that's about the only time that I actually call them sensei in English.
It really is about your audience. And honestly, you know what,
Yes.
now that I think about it, this is actually a really good question because it is something that I have had to think about a lot over the years in writing for both English and Japanese audiences.
Mm,
In officially released, major officially released pieces, like things that are made to be press releases, or will be on television or guaranteed to have a wide spread when they are released, I was required to call him Oda Sensei in Japanese.
mm-hmm.
When I was doing smaller publications or side projects, um, I could do Odachi, which is the quote unquote
Mm-hmm.
what he prefers.
Mm-hmm.
There is we've talked about this on the podcast before about honne and tatemae, the what you should say and what you end up saying, basically, or what you really
Yes.
mean and what you say.
Right.
And that's all part of it. Is like the reality of the situation is, yes, you can call him Odachi. In English, you can call him just Oda, and I do.
Mm-hmm.
However, given the place in the presentation and to whom you are addressing, it is required that you call them a name that is publicly, quote unquote, publicly acceptable. And so
Right.
I've had to wrestle with that a lot in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, my columns for the online site have thankfully only had to be accomplished in English. I only hand them in English now, which is wonderful. It's literally half the work. And I just dropped it all because it's English, and for English people reading, I will call him.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll call him Odachi. Sometimes I'll call him Oda. I don't even worry about the sensei anymore for that because it's English and it's for an English audience.
Right.
And I'm writing for English readers. But as Stephen mentioned astutely, if I'm speaking English to like Sasaki-san or a fluent English,
Mm-hmm.
a fluent Japanese speaker of English, I will use
Yes.
Oda Sensei.
Right.
So that's a very good question. Complex answer. I'm sorry for the both
Mm-hmm.
of us going on about that, but yeah.
All right. Our next one comes from Reaver Got Patch, who says, SGS Sensei Sama Senpai Ni-chan, please weigh in on an important discussion. Does Brook have to eat? We know he can eat and get hungry, and we know he can absorb nutrients from milk and poop. I would assume they mean he can poop, not that he absorbs nutrients from poop. But can he die from starvation? Was he running on the water to fish for 45 years in the Florian Triangle? Where did he get all his tea and the fresh water for the tea? And most importantly, where does Moria get his milk? Are there zombie cows? Are the zombie mice milking Talaran? Oh, that's lovely. What a great image.
Oh.
That's fun.
Are they milking the mice? Where does that come from?
Yeah,
That's from something.
that's that was Malk, I believe, or was it? Yeah, was that Malk,
Malk.
or was that a different Simpsons joke? But yeah, that was they were milking the mice to make for the mobsters were doing it to.
Okay.
Yeah,
That sounds like a Conan joke. I don't know if it's from that age or not.
yeah, probably. Yeah. Boy, can he die from starvation?
I'm sorry, I forgot what the question was.
Yeah, it was all about Brooks' physiology here.
Brook eating, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. So here's my guess. Is this okay? Can I go on this?
Sure, go ahead.
My guess is that Brook can just get hungry for eternity.
Yeah.
I don't think he can die, but he has quote unquote magic organs, right? He has organs that can produce stuff. But if he has magic organs, then they need food. I know, because I'm going to say if they're magic, then they don't need real food. They can just operate because they're magic.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Unless we find out that he's actually the invisible. He's the
Yeah.
all flesh matter is invisible fruit that he actually ate. That also revives you.
Yeah.
Which is something that I'm
You can
sure at
only
this
see
point
the
Oda would
skeleton.
fucking do. So
Yeah.
with all the fruit revelations, so
Yeah, I think that he doesn't need food, but that he gets a spiritual hunger, basically. Like he needs it for like mental nourishment. That's my
Pe-
my version of it.
People talk about the phantom pain, but this is the phantom hunger.
Mm. Next we have a comment from M Stranger who says, "Hey SGS, what do you think is Emu's power? Is Blackbeard or Emu the final antagonist in the epilogue of the manga? And will there be a Gear 6? Thanks for all you both do." I feel like we have answered all of these individually before at some point or another. But who knows? Maybe we've maybe we've changed our opinions a bit. What do you think is Emu's power? Hmm. I mean, we've seen a little bit more of it now, especially with the references to the deep sea. That was kind of an interesting a bit of flavor text with the covenant. It certainly
The
sounds more demonic, right?
the abyss is what's really driving me nuts. Because is the abyss related to Im's power, or is the abyss just some inherent kind of magic in the world, which would be quite rare for the series?
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, inherent magic exists. Seems like it's going to be a thing in the series, right? Because Oda said like nothing outside the devil fruits will be magic. So the devil fruits are tapping into whatever this magic source is, right? They're pulling
Hmm.
from it. Um, there has to be a root somewhere, right? There has to be an identity of the smoke monster, so to speak, and it only goes so
Right.
far. But what is that root capable of? The control aspect, the eternal life aspect, the abyss aspect, all don't seem to be one part of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if it's anything, it seems to be like the actual definition of a multiple fruit user.
Mm.
And what's really fucking weird is the eternal life thing. That's really fucking strange because in this
Right.
world there should only be one uh, O- OP fruit. There really should only be one
Yeah.
OP fruit, and it would seem that we have that. So like the ability to just dole fucking eternal life out seems ridiculous even in the context of this world. So all I can say at this point is that it doesn't seem like Imu has just one power. It doesn't seem like it's a single power.
Yeah, I like that. I would like for that to be the case that it's like, oh, Emu is the first person that we know of, or the only person who has I mean, after Blackbeard now that has multiple fruit powers, because I get the impression now that we've seen enough here that it's going to be one of those things where it is one fruit, but it's going to be like the hobby fruit, Sugar's fruit, where you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, I would never have expected this fruit or this concept to have all of these different powers. And it kind of feels like you maybe just threw them in there as a matter of convenience to help you tell the story you wanted to tell,
Yeah.
as opposed to like kind of working from the a more I guess pure understanding of a certain power concept. Like I'm just saying because of his track record, he's done this sort of thing before where you're like, okay, and I don't mean to like pick on the hobby fruit specifically, but something that turns everybody into a toy but also causes everyone else to forget about them, and was didn't and it also freezes her lifespan so that she remains a child. Like that's a lot of different things that I think is kind of a stretch to make them all fit into one cohesive whole. So I wouldn't be shocked if it turns out that it is kind of a similar thing where, okay, I get how you did this, Oda, but also it feels like a stretch. I'm bracing myself for that. So, we'll see.
You know what? Okay, how about this? What if Imu is trapped in Lily's eternal body. And
Mhm.
what the fruit does is it is a connection fruit. It makes connections.
Mm.
And because Imu is eternal, it can connect to people through the abyss. And the abyss is kind of a bullshit aspect to it. But let's just say that the abyss connects. All right. You need two of them to connect.
Right.
Because he can connect through that, he can connect to other people. And because he puts his mark, which means he puts part of himself on another person. The pentagram, the abyss, is a conduit where he can directly bring himself to that he can drag himself to them or transport
Right.
someone who has a part of him through it because of that connection. So it's basically like he's just dragging himself around the world.
Yeah.
And then he is putting himself into other people as well, right? So what if it's a connection fruit?
I would buy that. Yeah.
And that would help explain if he is indeed inside Lily's eternal body. It would just mean that he's sharing part of his quote unquote granted ability with the other people. How about that for a single fruit? I think it fucking works.
That might work. Yeah.
And it makes sense too for Hitotsunagi no Daihiho.
Right. It's the evil version of what Luffy will do.
Huh. What if the One Piece is that fruit? That's tinfoil. I'm just blurting that out. But like, what if it was like, what if that is the One Piece, is to connect all the people of the world, right?
Right.
So what if that's a fruit that actually literally can connect everybody in the world? Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh,
stuff.
but then the Domi Reversi stuff is fucking weird. Maybe the Domi Reversi stuff is connected to whatever the Satan power is. Whatever the quote unquote magic is. What if that's actually a magic thing? Domi Reversi. Because if he's connected, if he is the Satan, or if he has the power, then once again, is that being living inside of Lily's shell husk? Is he not granted? If it is a Satan, is he just giving part of himself to them? That's fucking it. He's granting them his satanic power. Yeah. I guess at this point, it's really the question of, was Im ever a person? Were they friends with Joy Boy, or were they always this eternal being of darkness?
I feel like the seeming kind of, I guess not like infatuation, but the kind of obsession that we've seen in the the stabbing the posters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That to me says like, oh, this was a person. Like this is like a long-standing, obsession that they had as a person, or something like that.
I would really like for them to have been buds.
Yeah. Interesting.
That would be poignant, but
yes. And then
I
of
like
course,
that. I think that's it. It's a connection fruit. All right.
Is Blackbeard or Emu the final antagonist in the epilogue of the manga? I don't know.
I don't think we have another hour, so
yes. For you to explain the different possibilities.
This is funny. I just went into this at Arlong Park. Blackbeard can't be evil.
Right.
He can be bad. He can do bad things. It does not seem to me at this point, outside. If he intends to misuse Im's power, if he does get it, then he will be an evil character. I do not think that he intends to misuse it. He may misuse it. He may end up doing very evil, horrible things, but I don't think he intends to misuse it. I think he wants to get it for not worldly, for missing the word, for philanthropic is, no, that's too flowery. He wants to get it for reasons to save the world. He wants to get it for good reasons, but that may not happen. That may not be able to transpire. He may get Dami reversied. He may do terrible things, but I don't think he will ever be the evil end villain that people want him to be as a person. He may end up in that role. If he inherits the power, if he gets Domi Reversied and he succumbs to it, then he may do those things. But I don't think that he'll be that way. So ultimately what we're looking at is the quote unquote final villain seems to be setting up to be Im. And through Im or because of Im, other characters may do terrible things. And if Blackbeard receives Im's powers, effectively killing Im or being controlled by him, in that case, it would be one and the same. But I think we are getting closer and closer to the fact that Blackbeard and Luffy kind of will want to accomplish at least the same thing, even if it's for very different reasons. Blackbeard knows why he wants to accomplish it. Luffy just wants to, have fun with everyone. And doing that means getting rid of him. So
yes,
they may be one and the same.
Right. Will there be a Gear 6? I know we've talked about this one too. I think probably yes. I don't know if he would call it Gear 6. He probably would, but I do think it's probably like this is the last thing that Luffy will ever do in a fight. It's like this is the ultimate, the ultimate transformation or whatever. That wins the final battle. That's my assumption.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna do something ridiculous, and like it's just gonna be like completely hopeless. He's gonna do a Gear 6, and then do something amazing, and then lose, and then it's gonna come back and just he's gonna pull out Gear 100 or something. Isn't that like the fucking Otis thing to do? Is just be like, I showed you 6. Here's a fucking 100. It's such a like Shadows Asgard thing.
Yeah,
like, you thought 100 was a lot. I'm gonna take 1,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Why not?
Somebody please remember that, so when it happens, I can know that I said it, because I guarantee you I'm gonna forget I said that. So.
Oh yeah. Our next question from JP, who says, "Ahoy SGS with God Valley wrapping up."
Toppu Gear. Toppu as a Totsuzen Kaze. Toppu Gear.
Wow.
With his father. Because dragon with the wind and shit.
With the wind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. JP says, "Ahoy SGS with God Valley wrapping up. It seems like we'll be returning to the thread of what really went." This is from November 15th. So, after the God Valley chapters, it seems like we'll be returning to the thread of what really went down between Harold and Loki. I've been wondering about the unrevealed treasure of Elbaf, ... the forbidden devil fruit, one of the 2 needed for Rox's master plan, of which he said its power will only be truly unlocked if Harold eats it. Any guesses as to what it could be? And Loki's got to be its current user, right? It seems like he's been telling this entire flashback just to convince his half-brother to unshackle him so he can use it. And what was the other fruit Rox was after? Probably the dark fruit, right? Yeah, I mean, it's...
Probably.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Timeline-wise.
I'm so sorry. I have not been thinking about that aspect of the series at all.
Right.
So
I kind of forgot about it.
I have no really concrete thoughts on it, and I'd rather not ramble too much. But I agree with Steven that probably dark fruit, probably one of them. I was wondering, what if he wants like the dark fruit and Luffy's fruit? Like, what if having Luffy's fruit would be part of the plan? That would be kind of the idea of the 2 working together, right? I've had.
Right. And as far as like what Loki does now, the problem is like the natural assumption or the easy guess I suppose would be like, oh, well, if he's got the hammer, it's like, it's Thor powers, right? It's lightning. Well, we know it's not going to be lightning unless again, it's kind of a bullshit. Like, here's how I can get lightning without using the lightning powers. Kind of a
Steven, haven't you heard? Magma burns through fire.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's going to be the super lightning fruit or whatever. The
I was like,
plasma
what
lightning.
if it's a static? What if it's a static fruit?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be kind of silly. I don't think he would do. It would be super funny, but I don't think he's willing to do that something that goofy with Loki.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't be very happy with that as a reader. Um but yeah, it's sure, it's hard for me to guess anything other than along those lines. So that's something I'm looking forward to finding out. Um All right. Our next question here from SNP, who says, Ahoy, Stephen, Greg, and Simba. This is not a question, but rather a collection of thoughts about various topics you three have discussed in the past. First, the whole discussion about how Teach looks exactly like Rocks aside, I think the reason the world government let Blackbeard become a warlord is because they want to keep him close at first while they're dealing with Whitebeard. Like Garp said, the world government don't want to deal with two legends at once when he was talking about Rayleigh. The same could apply here. They want to keep him close and deal with him later, but they didn't expect Blackbeard would betray them so fast in literally the same saga. Should I continue, or do you want to? Do you have any?
Yeah, thank you.
Feedback?
I'll give a little. Um, if I completely disagreed with that, then I'd be off point for allowing them to forgive Luffy traveling around with the fucking instrument of their destruction for so long. But I in the same vein, I would not accept that they would take Luffy. Like, let's say they had Luffy in Marijoa back in like East Blue for like no reason. Let's just say that Luffy showed up in Marijoa and they were like, that's a guy and he has exactly the power we want and he is a massive threat to us. If he was on their doorstep, I'm pretty sure they'd murder him on the spot. The same for Teach. I can't really accept that as anything other than an oversight by Oda. I don't know if you want to call it a plot hole because I'm sure he can try to explain his way out of it, but I believe it's an oversight at the least. I don't disagree with your thought process, but in practice, I don't think it would work out logically.
Okay. And then the other comment here, second, it's about one of the questions a few months ago about why the five elders didn't order CP0 to kill Luffy before. Did they not know about the Nika stuff? So he continues, I'm pretty sure they know about Nika. They just didn't know for sure that the gum fruit is the Nika fruit. To quote one of them, it was a legend even for us. They said it was the previous world government that changed the name, probably happened at the end of the Void Century, and these five elders are the newest ones. It's not that they didn't want to kill Luffy, but it looks to me more like they didn't 100% know for sure. They were still trying to catch him, but Luffy keeps getting away either by escape or getting saved by others, or sometimes he is completely off the map. Yeah, I mean, Oda kind of,
he gave that in. Wow.
Yeah. Oda gave himself a lot of wiggle room with the like, oh, it was a legend even for us. So that can help explain a lot of inaction. If you just say, oh well, they didn't know for sure.
Something piqued my interest there, and that was the mentioning of it was the previous world government changed the name, or it changed after the world government. I would like to reread that because I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't recall it in those terms either.
I would like to reread that because if that was said, that's an interesting piece of information that I completely blew over. So I am interested in seeing that. As for why they didn't know, like even if it was a legend for us, that sounds like some heavy-handed explaining. I don't want to say retcon, but maybe covering tracks.
Yeah, it can serve that purpose for sure.
Yeah. But I don't want to assume that I am absolutely right here. So I would be
Hmm.
very interested in rereading that part. If anybody knows where that
Yeah.
was,
I'm
give me a
I'm
heads up.
guessing that that's probably in Onigashima, like right after the transformation, right? Because wasn't that when they started waxing poetic about the the old name of the fruit or whatever, because it was around the Nika name reveal and all that stuff. So that's where I would look.
Which is honestly, if that's the case, this is another thing where it's like, then Imu just looks stupid. Um, Imu's not gonna
Yeah.
fucking tell them like, hey, by the way, there's this
Right.
one fruit
Hmm.
that can super fuck me over. If you see it, be sure to kill the person and transfer it to a fruit that I can keep here safely. Okay?
Right.
Thanks. All of this because Imu needs to be the apex of the villain. He needs to be the perfect villain for the entire story. So like for him to be like,
Hmm.
oh, by the way, it's like it's like fucking Achilles, like leaving his heel open in battle and being like, please don't hit me here. You can hit me
Yeah.
anywhere. Just
Yeah.
don't hit me here, right here. Where? Right here, right here, in this spot.
Yeah. It is always unfortunate. I mean, I understand why it happens, but like, especially for a story as long as this one, it does often feel like when you finally get to the big bad, and you've seen so many enemies along the way, and this is going to be the worst of them yet, and then sometimes it just kind of feels like the author was like, well, I don't really know how to solve this, so I'm just going to give them the curse of like blind arrogance and just assume that there's no way the hero is possibly going to overcome whatever, and then of course they do, and and then that's the end of the story. That's how they win, is that the bad guy was too arrogant. And sometimes you want something a little more substantial than that.
I
And so
expect you to
yeah.
die, Mr. Monkey.
Yeah.
That's the
But
episode title.
like I'll write it down.
I feel like Zach would get a kick out of that one. I feel like Zach would read that and be like, oh, I'm gonna listen to this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. On to another question from this strange name. And my name is Alex.
Oh.
Writes in again with back again in the throes of finishing the recent volume 113 SBS episode. The Vegapunk. Let's see, the Vegapunk York question. Now, did you peruse the
This is going to be
SBS?
super interesting. I haven't read an SBS in like 10 volumes.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
This
Well,
is
here I'll,
super
I'll read.
interesting.
I'll,
Okay.
I'll read what Alex is saying. So the Vegapunk/York question pertaining to Vegapunk's greed had me thinking, how evil is Vegapunk? Lilith has not really shown herself to be anything other than a huge help to the Straw Hats, Bonnie and Kuma, and sympathetic to their plight. What are the odds that she's going to do a heel turn while everyone is licking their wounds from this upcoming battle against the God Knights? Maybe she has some evil motive for building a lab there or cloning Stella. So the Vegapunk York question was just kind of you know getting Oda's comment on what it means that when he split himself into these different satellites, that one of them was greed, who wanted to be a celestial dragon. And does that mean that Vegapunk wants to be a celestial dragon? And Oda kind of answered by kind of speaking on the fact that everyone has these desires, everyone has a sense of greed. It is kind of an inextricable part of everyone's nature, and it's just, this is the hazard. This is the moral hazard of isolating it and making it its own individual agent that can act on itself without any without any controls over it. This is the kind of thing that anyone would be capable of doing. And that was about York. But I think Alex has a very good point here, because I don't really have a good answer for why Lilith is kind of not evil at all as far as she is shown in the story. Do you have any
I
thoughts on
might.
this?
Yeah.
You might.
I think this would be the Oda explanation if he were pressed for it. And that is, everybody has them, but to what
Mm-hmm.
degree? And
Mm.
now you can make a counter argument to this, and I may somewhat agree with it, because talk about Garp turning a blind eye, which I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that he necessarily did.
Mm-hmm.
Vegapunk turned a fucking blind eye.
Yeah.
Vegapunk definitely like he had knowledge. He knew stuff that was
Mm-hmm.
going on in the world, and still he was like, I'm gonna side with these guys because they're funding my research.
Right.
But I don't think he fully realized the extent of what they were doing, or how deep corruption actually uh, went before he got too deep in. Which is not to excuse anything. I mean, dude paid for it with his life. Um, but it may help explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he's necessarily evil. Even so, I think what
Yeah.
led all of that was his thirst for knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to make the argument, okay, to what degree are the different parts of him to the extremes for each aspect, then maybe they are actually based on to what degree they were within him. In which case, he is probably not very evil. Capable of evil, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but he's probably not an inherently evil person. Very few of Oda's characters actually are 100% irredeemably evil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Vegapunk, if we agree that, then that would also explain why York goes to such an extreme, because he was so thirsty for knowledge.
Right.
That greed inside of him led him to that, and as its own individual, it worked to an end to attain the ultimate human greed.
Mm-hmm. It would be an interesting way to rationalize, like, that's why she's way bigger than all, aside from what's his
Ah,
name, Pythagoras,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
A physical difference as well. That's
right.
yeah, okay. That's
Yeah.
really
Now
fucking cool, dude. I think
now
you
now
got that
now
one.
now Lilith is not super tiny, but whatever, he's that it's just character design. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good rationalization as far as like something that Oda would say. It would be nice if, like, like, even just for jokes, like, if she did have more of like a, ooh, he I'm so evil, sort of a routine, because she doesn't even really seem to have much of that. Maybe one or two that I'm just not remembering, but um
We're gonna
it's,
get it. We're gonna get it.
you think so?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, it's gonna happen. I mean, you can just see the Oda think, conceiving the thing is, "Atai wa aku dakara." Like you can see
Mm,
him coming up with the screen and like licking the lips kind of thing, doing a Stussy
yeah.
almost kind of thing.
Or like, okay, she disappears, she's off building the lab, and then, when the war is on the doorstep and everybody is like, oh my god, what's going on, and then Lilith shows up and it's like, what have you been building? Oh, it's just all weapons. I've just got all weapons in here. And then, it's like, oh, awesome, now we have weapons, or something like that. uh he could kind of pull it off that way, make
It
it a
could also
useful
be
thing.
dramatic. I mean, very dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes to a situation where like nobody can make a hard decision
Mm-hmm.
and Lilith is in the room, yeah, Lilith may make that decision for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, just a couple more here. Reaver Got Patch again says, "Hey, Slayer's giving Saint Anthony's fire. How's it going?" So there's the SGS. So instead of making up a poison, Oda had Ida die of ergot poisoning. That was the little vial that the guy had. Uh, AKA St. Anthony's fire, which is a real thing which can result in gangrene, convulsions, and hallucinations. It's been theorized as an explanation for things like the dancing plagues or witch trials. To quote directly from Wikipedia, oh boy, according to Snorri Sturluson in his Heimskringla, King Magnus II of Norway, son of King Harald Sigurðarson, who was the half-brother of Saint King Olaf Haraldsson, died from ergotism shortly after the Battle of Hastings. So that's weird, right? Not sure what any of it means. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I remember looking
Stephen,
up the kanji.
bravo, by the way. Good job.
For the names, yeah.
Yeah.
I only translated almost 30 volumes of Vinland Saga. I hope I picked up a few. Yeah, I remember the kanji for that I translated as ergot was I don't even know if it was the Japanese. It might have been like the Chinese version or something like that. I remember it wasn't like it wasn't a super easy direct one-to-one thing, but I did find that and then was like, okay, cool, this works. It's easier to use a real name than like to have to make up a creative one that's based off of kanji. That can get very tricky. So I did not look up all of this information. So this is new to me, the St. Anthony's Fire stuff, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I don't know, maybe what it was, looking through textbook like sources on ancient Viking stories and legends and things like that, and maybe he came across this and filed it away as a concept that he could use and implemented it here as the death of Ida. So that would be an interesting way to get to it. But thank you for that very difficult quote from Wikipedia. Put me on the spot here.
Yeah, honestly, I think Rob Lowe was fantastic in it, and Demi Moore and Judd Nelson as well had great turns in it. But yeah.
Which movie? What movie are you talking about here?
St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh, okay. No wonder I missed that. I had not seen that. King Doji says, "Hey,
for
hello,
all our listeners who were big buffs on 1985 movies."
Yeah, I was like, it doesn't sound like the Breakfast Club, but King Doji, hello, very special guests. We've probably got only 1 or 2 chapters left for this flashback. Are we going to come out of it? This was from December 10th, so very recently. Are we going to come out of it not seeing Loki's interaction with Lola? Inconceivable. Unacceptable. By the way, Greg, oh boy, here you go. By the way, Greg, your estimation for the length of Elbaf in the end of One Piece are still holding true. We're currently 42 chapters into the arc, and I'd say conservatively 20 chapters into the action/drama conflict section, and I could definitely see the fight continuing for a while on Elbaf in the present day. If we sail off by 1182, Elbaf hits the very low end of your estimate. Do you think everything wraps up in that time? So there you go. Somebody else is keeping score.
Holy shit. That's awesome. You have no idea. I before we started recording, I did a very quick tally and very unscientific. I just totaled the high numbers for each of them. And I was just like, before we started, I was like, holy shit, Steven. I was like, I'm only a few chapters off so far. It was like, my high end was 1,173, and we are at 1,168 for this point in the story. And what did I count it as? I think I counted us as being in the, oh my gosh, the connection to the main connection of the Straw Hats to the main conflict. And the reason I put it in there tentatively, I didn't count us in the action. I thought we were in the action before, but we were not, because we got this whole flashback and we're going into the action now. But I think it's going to hit like the middle mark of it, like the medium, like the mid ground. I highballed and lowballed. I think it's going to be right in the dead center. So what it comes down to is, how long does the action part of the story last? For anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, I wrote a big thing about how long I think One Piece will last before it ends. And I did a breakdown, like before it was even published, I did a breakdown of how I think Elbaf will go in terms of parts of its arc. And as of right now, it seems to be on point. almost
Amazing.
within 10 chapters. So thank you for keeping track of that. That's amazing. I wasn't even going to bring it
Yeah.
up, but wow.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what you were talking about right before we started.
Wow.
um, okay,
Serendipity.
we have one more question. Actually, I'm glad because we did not touch on this, so I'm glad we can go into this fresh here. Last one from S&P again. Hoy, Simba, Greg, and Steven. I saw someone post in the manga channel that seems like the original Japanese for the. This is for the what I called the depths and abyssal covenant. Part of the the contract they're signing with Emu is the in Japanese is the deep sea and deep sea contract. It made me wonder if that is an actual sea, like beneath the normal blue sea, since there's the white sea and the white sea high up in the sky. And like Wispy pointed out, when they go down to Fishman Island, there was a talk about surface currents and deep currents that lead to the deep sea. That is chapter 605, where it is pitch black. Is it the same thing? As we all know, the sea level rose 200 meters after the void century. So, what if the deep sea and the deep sea is reference to the old sea before the flood? Hmm.
Yes. I like all of that.
The
Let's
the only
see.
thing I would say is that I think like the 200 meters thing, that's not very deep. Like
Yeah, I'm
that's
not
not a
sure
lot.
about
Yeah.
because it's a
Um,
thousand meters down, 1,000 meters up, right? Is as far as we've been.
I thought it was 10 kilometers. I may be misremembering. It
Excuse
was
me,
a
a
very
thousand
large.
thousand meters. Jesus Christ. Yes, 10,000 meters up, 10,000 meters down. It's 10 kilometers
Right.
either way, right?
Yeah. It's 10 kilometers down to Fishman Island, from
Yeah.
what I recall. Um, yeah. So just for Greg's knowledge, yeah, the what was it the Japanese the kanji for the contracts were shallow sea contract, deep sea contract, and then deep sea contract. And I chose to do more like a more descriptive um translations of that. So mine was there was the shallows covenant, the depths covenant, and then the abyssal covenant for the very bottom one. But this is a good point, and I'm trying to remember. I think I may have, like, for like a split second, when I saw the deep sea part in Japanese, I was reminded of the white sea, but I didn't really think of it as like, oh, this is like it's like the perfect counterpoint. It's like a mirror. They're meant to be aligned. So that part didn't
Right.
really factor into, right. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, George. Um, that part didn't factor into the creative decision. So it's possible that we might get more lore like this, and the fact that um, the Davy clan and Davy Jones is mentioned. Obviously, that's at the bottom of the sea. There certainly could be something to that with Emu's powers. Referencing deep seas and such. So it's possible that Oda was trying um, to kind of reference, or to make these things kind of aligned in some way. I don't know for sure, but it's pretty interesting. Although like I said, I am a little skeptical on the 200 meters part, but it definitely could turn out to be the case that, yeah, maybe there's something about Emu's power, or the source of the devil fruits or something like that is like super 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 deep down somewhere, even deeper than Fishman Island or something.
Actually, if you look into several ancient European texts um, that are related to this very topic, you'll find one of them reads something similar to this. It says, "There's a hole in the bottom of the sea. There's a hole in the bottom of the sea. There's a hole. There's a hole. There's a hole in the bottom of the sea." So make of that what you will. But I think that Oda's entire concept for One Piece came from Kids Bop. So,
Oh my God. I was like, where are you going with this?
like and subscribe.
I don't know. Is there anything else? Any other thoughts you have on this?
The only thing that it caught my mind when I was reading was, okay, we're getting closer and closer to where Davy Jones probably is.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever happened there was probably pretty important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's honestly the only thing I cared to give it thought. And I don't mean to dismiss anyone who's interested in this. I'm not doing that. It's just there's so much going on in my mind in so many different directions. And Oda's, with his naming, all it said to
Mm-hmm.
me was, this is closer to Davy Jones, so it's probably important. And let's put a pin in
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I think it's something to look forward to for sure.
that.
Um, and that's gonna do it for the SGS. Thank you again to everybody for writing your comments on Patreon. You will also, I didn't even check because I was like, all right, I only have so much time today. But if you did have any questions and you're not on Patreon, you can also use either Twitter or Blue Sky with the hashtag SGS Sensei, all one word. And most other times I will check that as well and add those questions to the list. But just kind of wanted to keep us focused here so that we can continue on our way for the rest of the day. So I think that is going to do it. Why don't we round off this show?
Okay.
Well, it's been another wonderful and enlightening episode of the SGS. And as always, would not be possible without you, Greg. Thanks for being on.
It would not be possible without you and Simba. Otherwise, there is no
Yeah,
SGS. So we're a team.
that's
We're
right.
Nakamates.
Oh yeah. Whatever other word you want to use. Yeah. Do you have any? You mentioned earlier in the show that you're writing your columns exclusively in English now. Do you have any recent ones or any upcoming ones for people to look forward to?
What is my upcoming one? I submitted it, and they were like, "Cut this out," and I was like, "Okay."
Nice.
It was oh god, it's about Gil Baster. All about Gil.
Oh,
Um,
that's right.
yeah. And
The
what did I?
hero
Oh,
of which story was that again?
Wanted.
In one. Okay, yes, the
Yep.
titular Wanted,
Yes.
which you can go and buy. It is out in English now.
Yay.
Buy,
Is that
get
thanks
it,
to
go.
you?
Yes, yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Did that whole volume a little while back. That was quite interesting.
Yeah.
But
What are they?
yeah.
What do they want me to cut
Where
out? It was.
where's your
Oh god. What was it? Oh, mentioning that it was canon. So that
mm,
was interesting. They didn't want me
mm.
to mention that it was canon. And they
Oh,
were
okay.
also like, oh, please don't make any definitive statements that he is a hollow fruit user. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, guys. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
can find that on one-piece.com. I don't know when that's coming out. It should be coming out sometime this month, I hope, maybe. And you can also find me on Twitter on Ochimusha108.
Mm-hmm. And you can find me over on Blue Sky at stephenpaul.bsky.social. And check out the other stuff that I've been working. Oh yeah, have you? Are you at liberty to say your project that
Oh my
that you've been
god.
back on?
Yeah, and I think I mentioned it before, but
That's been public. Yeah.
yeah. I don't think I can mention which one, but I'm just about to wrap up my next one that I've been working on, and it's been a monster. So yeah, I and there's a very nice young lady who assists me. She's kind of like a dye guru, the adventure of
Hmm.
dye guru, and she has been helping me a lot with like lore and like fact checking me and making sure I don't make any statements that are or miss any statements that are foreshadowing or screw anything
Hmm.
up for the future, which you do not have the luxury of. I
Yeah.
feel so bad.
Yeah.
But she actually came to Japan and I was able to meet her. So that
Oh,
was a lot of
nice.
fun. Got to discuss it. You don't, usually get to meet these people, but
Right.
I did make a connection. So
Yes.
the hope and the dream is still alive that someday I will meet you, Stephen, and get to bask in your translation presence.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll figure it out one way or another. And speaking of translation, yes, of course, as always, One Piece, Akane Banashi. I'm working on a newer series called Kurumizawa's Folly. That's a Jump Plus series that has been going on for a few months now. That's been kind of fun. And other than that, yeah, that's about it for the Shueisha stuff. I wrapped up. Shohei Shoten is done now. I think I've finished the last volume's worth of bonus materials, so I'm completely finished with that. And I also did just finish the last chapter of the Trillion game manga, which I was working on for a little bit there. So you will be able to see that soon. I think I'm not sure if it's out yet, but yeah, I got through that entire series as well. So lots of stuff, new and old, to check out if you are interested in other things of my work. But us aside, you can still check out the site, onepiecepodcast.com. Also on social media, mostly active on Blue Sky, although we do pop back into Twitter or X to retweet stuff every now and then whenever there's important news or whatnot. Follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those places where you get your podcasts. I'm sure you probably know that already, but just in case we're out there, you can find us. And I think that will do it. I'm not sure when the next time. We're heading into the holidays, so that usually means there's a lot of jump breaks in addition to the usual Oda schedule. So we'll see if we are called upon to do another SGS in the near future. I would not be surprised. So keep an eye out. I'll try to be a little more proactive about letting people know that we're recording so that you can submit more questions, since we might not have a lot of manga to go over. We'll see. But until then, my name is Steven.
And I'm Greg.
And Simba is down here. He's here. Hey, buddy. I'm giving him pets for all of you listeners. All right. See you next time.